Welcome back to Dagryffyn Hobby. My name's Dave. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at the Lackawanna 1501. This Lackawanna Pocono has been in my collection for, well, I don't really know, maybe a year or so. And I realized I had never cleaned it. I'd never opened it up. I'd never inspected it. I just threw it on the track after I got it and ran it. And I never really had a problem or a complaint with it until I tried pulling these Lackawanna cars, and it just really wasn't doing a very good job. It was kind of sluggish, the top speed wasn't very good with the cars behind it, so I figured it was about time to open it up and see what it looked like in there. One of the nice things about this engine is it comes apart really easily. 3 screws and the boiler lifts off, and you've got access to the entire insides of the engine. When I took the boiler off, I found what was once lubricant, and it had turned into either a very sticky mass or had dried out completely. And it was so dried that it was really very difficult to remove, especially from the worm gear on the motor itself. I spent a little bit of time, cleaned it all up, and it's working so much better. So let's take a look at what I did. So I have scraped away a whole lot of old lubricant from around the gear, from in between the teeth of the gear. I've also sprayed WD-40 in here because there's no way that I can get all of the junk out of it. Normally, wouldn't necessarily do that, but there's just no way for me to get this all out of here. So what I've done is scraped as much as I can, sprayed WD-40 into there. I'm going to let it sit and hopefully drain out. And once it's drained out, I can return to cleaning it up a little bit and properly lubricating it. Brush plate is filthy. Brushes are a little sticky. That's all that's getting in the way of smooth running. Just removing the bearing on this side, oiling the shaft a little bit and spinning it and cleaning up the end. It is spinning so much better. Perfect? No, but definitely a lot better. For the gears on the engine itself, I use the WD-40 only to help me clean out the excessive junk. I figure even if it leaves a little bit of sticky residue, it's better than what was there. And on the motor itself, I only use the Labelle oil on the shaft and only use the WD-40 to help clean up the grease on the end of the shaft on the worm gear, because that was just not coming off. So I'm gonna let it sit overnight, get back to it tomorrow, finish cleaning it up and get it back together. I ended up taking this apart more than I had intended to, because when I went to test it, it was shorting out because there was just so much extra oil dripping through everything. So I had to take it all apart and clean everything up. So now I'm going to put it back together and hopefully get it running. When the engine's going and the smoke unit's puffing, it makes that clinking sound when it hits the bottom. I'm gonna put a little grease there, hopefully minimize some of the noise from it. If you do put grease under the lever to help with the noise, make sure you don't get any on or around the plastic cup or piston that goes up and down into the smoke unit, because it will end up getting stuck in the smoke unit and then you won't have the puffing. So just careful to keep that piston all clean. I'm going to add a little oil down to the axle. Then I'm going to lube the gears with the Labelle 106. Before you tighten down the screws for the motor, just make sure that the gears are meshed and that it's sitting properly. And then just check to make sure everything moves well. This plate just goes back down, hopefully right in that spot. So since it was giving me such a hard time, I flattened it out a little bit and put it lengthways, and it's in there. I don't imagine it will fall out. If it's an issue later, I'll worry about it then. I don't know if this is factory or a later improvement. The power wires were all twisted together and in a cap so that you could take them apart without having to desolder anything. So as long as you've got them in there properly and everything's tight, it should be good. I'm gonna put it on the tracks and see if it works. Okay, well that didn't go as smoothly as I had hoped, but when you learn something, it's always a good thing. So this wasn't running when I put it on the track for two reasons. One, in between the armature and the field, it was all dirty, so I used a bunch of Q-tips with the brush plate off and went around and cleaned that all up. As you can see, it was not good. And the other thing is that every engine needs a good ground. In this case, if this one doesn't have the leading truck or the trailing truck, it does not get enough ground through these wheels to operate efficiently. Once I put the front truck on, it ran fantastically. So if you're testing something, keep that in mind. You may need the leading or trailing truck to help make a good ground so that your engine runs. So this is all good, all lubed up. I put a little bit of oil on the axles down there. I'm gonna put it back together and see if it pulls any better. Don't forget to put the fiber washer, gasket, separator, whatever you want to call it, back on the smoke unit before you put the engine shell back on. So I did a basic wipe down on the shell. It was pretty clean to begin with. The only really flaw is the paint missing along the running board here. And now the 1501 is back together. Got little sweaty hand marks on it. I'm gonna wipe those off and put it back on the track. Does it work? Let's find out. Well, it seems to be running very smoothly and at very low voltage. I have not seen what it's like at top voltage because I just cleaned it and I don't want it falling off the track. So might as well pull some cars with it and see how it does. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time on Dagryffyn Hobby.